Okay, vertical angles. Vertical angles are when two lines intersect and they create four angles. What they actually create is two angles and then they mirror each other. So let's say that this is 95 degrees. That would make this 85 degrees because together they have to add up to 180. And 85 plus 95 is 180. Well, what happens is that they also create mirror images of each other. If this is 95, this is also 95. And if this is 85, this is also 85. So you can see these two are alike, and that these two are alike. And that always happens. In reality, they only need to give you one of the angles. So watch this. Let's say they gave me, this was 60 degrees. Well, here's what I know. If this one's 60, so is this one. So I can fill that one in. What I also know is that these two together add up to 180. So I take 180 minus 60 and I get 120. So this one has to be 120. Well, if this one's 120, so is this one. And I found all four. The way to check yourself is that if you take all four numbers and add them together, you should get 360 because they create a full circle, as you can see. So let's check ourselves. So we have 120 plus 60 plus 120 plus 60, and we have 360. Then we'll go ahead and check what we did before. We have 90, well, let's start with 95 plus 85 plus 95 plus 85, and we have 360 because this one also created a full circle. So vertical angles are actually pretty simple. They take, they're pretty much a mirror image of each other, and they take into account supplementary angles. So let's look at our notes here. It says vertical angles. When two lines intersect, four angles are formed. Each opposite pair are called vertical angles and are always congruent. Vertical angles are also called opposite angles. So you can see here that if this is 140, then this is also 140. And if this is 40, so is this 40. And then if we added all four of those up, they would equal 360. So here are some facts about vertical angles. They're always congruent. Vertical angles are always congruent or of equal measure. And the sum of vertical angles, both pairs of vertical angles, all four angles together, add up to 360, which is called a full angle. Adjacent angles, each pair of side-by-side angles are supplementary and add up to 180. So for example, these two, 140 and 40, they add up to 180. But so are these, 140 and 40 again. Every pair behaves like that. It doesn't matter which pair you pick, they're always going to be supplementary. And so that's really helpful with these because it doesn't matter how you look at it, you're going to find a pair of you find four pairs of supplementary angles. All right, let's do these four together. So here's what we know. If this is 70, so is this. And if this is 110, so is this. So we're done. And we'll check ourselves, make sure they all add up to 360. So 110 plus 70 plus 110 plus 70, 360. Okay, number 2. So if this is 158, so is this one. And if this is 22, so is this one. And I'm going to check, make sure we're good. So 22 plus 158 plus 22 plus 158 equals 360. And I'm going to do this one, 119 and 61. 61 plus 119, 360. Okay, this one's a little bit different, and I'm really glad because the other 3 have been really easy. They give us the 2 that are congruent, but they don't tell us what these are. So we have an option. We can look at it like 360 and take all 4 of the angles, or we can look at it as 180 and only take 2 of the angles. We'll do it both ways. So I'm going to draw this on my paper. Okay, so I got 137 and 137. All right, method 1. We'll say 360. Okay, we know that all 4 of these add up to 360, right? And we know whatever this one is, this one's the same measure. So I'll call them both x, because once I find one, I'll find the other. So I'm going to start with 360, and I'm going to subtract away what I know. So I know that 2 of the angles are 137. So that means I have 86 degrees left. But here's the thing. This is where kids mess up. They automatically say that this is 86 and this is 86. And I'll do that. Let's pretend that that was true, even though it's not. If this was 86 and that was 86, we should check ourselves. Because it does not add up to 360. They are not both 86. What happens is that together they're 86. These 2 together are 86. So x, we're going to have like an equation. X plus x equals 86. These 2 together equal 86. In other words, 2x equals 86. Then we divide by 2. And x is 43. Now we'll check ourselves and we'll make sure we're right. So 137 plus 43 plus 137 plus 43 is 360. And we're right. Okay. Method 2 would be the 180 method, where we only take into account, I'm going to redraw it. We pretend like we can only see half of the picture. So I'm going to cover up the other half. Let me find a clean sheet of paper here. So if I don't want to deal with the whole thing, I'm only going to deal with half of it. And now I have linear pair. So I take 180 minus 137, and when I do that in my calculator, I'm going to get 43. And then once I know what one of them is, of course that's what the other one is too. Then I would still check myself by adding all 4 to make sure they add up 360. So method 2 probably is the easier way, but a lot of times kids still do the first method, which is fine. So let's fill in what we know. This is 43 degrees and 43 degrees. All right, so the back, let's do one more on the back, and then I'll let you do the rest. The measure of angle 2 is 45 degrees. So we know this is 45 degrees. That means that this is also 45 degrees. I'm going to do the half method. I'm going to cover up the other half, and you can use an index card, it'll probably be a lot easier. Just cover up the other half. I'm looking at a linear pair now. These are going to add up to be 180. So I take 180 minus 45, and I get 135. So I have 135 and 135. So measure of angle 1 is 135 degrees. Measure of angle 2 is 45. 3 is 135. And 4 is 45. And check ourselves. We're going to add all 4 of those up and make sure that they are 360. Oops. And it is. Okay, so I want you to try some by yourself, and let me know if you have any questions. Raise your hand and I'll be happy to help you.